be associated with that, I'm for sure.
Question number 6, Grant Robertson.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by his statement in relation to the funding of the Mackenzie Sustainable Futures Trust, quote, "I'm sure someone will have a cursory look at it," unquote, and if so, has he or his office investigated the funding?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, as I said yesterday, my office and the Minister of Environment's office had a quick look at the matters involved. We didn't find anything that raised concerns to us.
Grant Robertson.
As part of the investigation by his office, did they ask the Deputy Secretary of the Ministry for the Environment to explain her comment about the Trust, quote, "We remain deeply concerned at the level of professional fees being paid into this process. Some of the costs charged also have us concerned, and if not, why not?"
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, I'm not sure if that question was directly asked, but I think it's important to understand what happened in this process. Well, I'll tell you what happened in this process. A few $100,000 was paid to a trust so the collaborative process could be used to support it out, to sort out the problem. Actually, the estimated cost for the EPA to have dealt with it would have been $2.6 million. And by the way, Labor funded a $2.2 million contract with exactly the same organisation, Ecologic, for exactly this, environmental dispute resolution through Morse, and if you didn't use it for that instance, what would you? So, by the way, 2.2 million trumps 200,000.
Mr Speaker, can the Prime Minister confirm that the $2.2 million contract he's just referred to went through a full open tender process, unlike the money paid out to this trust?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, no, I can't confirm that fact, but what I can confirm this, though, what I can confirm is this. This is a comment from Peter Wilson, the Vice President of Federated Mountain Clubs, in relation to...
Order. The question simply asked if the Prime Minister could confirm something, and he said he couldn't, and really that should be the end of the answer. Grant Robertson.
As part of his office's investigation, did they review the decision by the independent panel of the Community Environment Fund to turn down funding for this trust on the basis of, quote, high costs and having, quote, no clear strategy and no clear process? And did this cause him to question the decision of the then Minister to directly fund the Trust from ministry baseline funding, knowing that?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
No, and I would reject that assertion. If one goes and actually look what's taken place, one goes and looks at Peter Wilson, the Vice President of Federated Mountain Clubs. He said, quote, "I personally attended every single Mackenzie Forum meeting over a year and a half of my organisation, and I must say that the price of Guy Salmon's involvement would have been cheap at twice the price, and by the way, it was about a tenth of the cost of going through a court process. That's why the collaborative process works, and I know lots of people who support the collaborative process, because when it was set up for the LORF, Grant Robertson said, the success of the Land and Water Forum has been that it's used a collaborative process that sees all players at the table. This will be a big challenge for local and central government, offers a prospect of a whole new way of policy making that will be inclusive and durable." What wise words from Mr Robertson.
Question, Mr Speaker.
Grant Robertson.
As part of his office's investigation, did they read the statement about the trust made by a Ministry for the Environment official, quote, "Now they are looking to get more cash from the Community Environment Fund and pressure us into a quick decision in relation to a trust chaired by Jackie Dean"? And does government officials being pressured by a trust chaired by a national backbench MP give him any concern at all?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, I think when it comes to pressuring officials to spend money unwisely, that member should go back and look at the whole history of the pledge card. But anyway, going back to that for a moment, Mr Speaker, the view of the Minister and many of those involved was quite clear. A collaborative approach was a much better way of going because it cost 1/10 of what going through a court process would have been.
Michael Woodhouse.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Has he seen any other reports in relation to the work of the Mackenzie Sustainable Futures Trust?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes, I've seen a report from Peter Wilson when he said this morning, Vice President. No, No, this is something different. You should enjoy the whole transcript. When he said, this is utter tripe and a good example of why someone should check their facts before spinning stories. I'm disappointed that Grant Robertson took to grandstanding before fact-checking.
Grant Robertson.
Does the Prime Minister think... Does the Prime Minister...
I apologise, honourable member. He's got a good voice, but the level of noise just too high. Grant Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the Prime Minister think that a trust launched at a National Party Blue-Greens conference, chaired by a National MP, directly funded by one of his ministers after it was rejected by an independent panel, meets the standards of transparency and accountability for spending taxpayer money?
The Right Honourable
Yes,
Prime
Mr.
Minister.
Speaker, I think the member should check his facts. Let's understand what's taken place. In Otago, there's been a substantial environmental issue about cubicle farming. There's been widespread community interest, as I understand it, 5,000 submissions. This was a process that collaboratively got all members of the community around the table at one time and did that for 1/10 of the cost of going through the courts. That is a lot cheaper and better way of going through a court process.
Point of order, Grant Robertson.
I'll take... That's tabling documents, so do you want me to do it at the end?
I'll come to the supplementary question first, then the Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
To the Prime Minister, would he advise local MP Jackie Dean that instead of working with her local mayors on the Mackenzie Trust, she should have introduced a bill to Parliament overruling the RMA and local councils to allow a friendly developer to pick up millions in windfall gains and then pick up a $17,000 political donation for her services, an approach endorsed by Grant Robertson in the style of Clayton Cosgrove?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
No, that's not my advice.
Point of order, Grant Robertson.
Mr. Speaker, I seek leave of the House to table several documents. The first of those is an email from the Deputy Secretary of the Ministry for the Environment to a staff member at Environment Canterbury saying, we remain deeply concerned at the level of professional fees being paid into this process. Some of the costs charged also have us concerned. This was released under the Official Information Act.
Leave has sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection.
I seek leave to table an email from the Deputy Secretary at the Ministry of Environment to another official at the Ministry for the Environment outlining the reasons why the Mackenzie Sustainable Futures Trust was not funded under the Community Environment Fund, including its high costs, that it had no clear strategy and no clear process.
Leave has sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. I seek leave of the House to table an email from a Ministry of the Environment official to other Ministry of Environment officials saying, quote, about the Trust, now they are looking to get more cash from CEF and pressure us into a quick decision.
Leave has sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection. Question number 7, Dr Paul Hutchison.
Te nakwe e te mana